I want to switch gears here and talk about loneliness. It's often seen as a challenge for the elderly or socially isolated, but in a recent essay for Time, author and psychotherapist Amy Giddon talked about how loneliness is truly impacting a surprising demographic, those in their so-called third life.
Yeah, the third life is the period after you've raised children and hit your mid-career milestones. But in the era of digital communication, a lot of people can feel cut off from other people. And there are many factors in play. So we have Dr. Cheryl Ziegler here, quickly took Tom Green's spot to talk about those many factors. And I can only imagine that a lot of people must feel this. So talk to us about this third life. What does the author mean by that?
Yeah, it's that new stage where you have raised your kids, you're empty nesting, you're still working, but you have to define what is your meaning and purpose now. And so I think that we've gone from you raise your kids, you work your whole life, and then you retire. And I think she's here to say, like, no, there's this whole piece where there's this transitional and we don't have a name for it and we don't really define it. And there's really a lot of loneliness that we're finding in that stage.
Well, how does it affect you specifically in that stage? Because I can see where you feel like, should I be retired? But I still, have that gumption. I still want to work. How does the loneliness play into all of that?
Well, I think that what happens is when you are earlier in your career or you're raising kids, you are hustling, you're constantly talking to other parents, you're maybe driving to activities and sports, and you're really involved with a lot of other people. And then once the kids leave out of the house and maybe you've gotten to a certain point in your career, you might not be as engaged with other people. And so the big part of it is really the lack of social connection. Is it meaningful? What is it for? How often does it happen? And no matter what the age, we're all going to social media. We're going to these digital places to try to gain a sense of connection. But what we know is that it really just, nothing is like in-person connection, doing things. And so they're going to that, just like other age groups too, but finding themselves actually winding up feeling more anxious or even depressed.
I would imagine they feel pretty cut off. So what are some ways, if you recommend not to go on social media to search for connection, what are some things that you would recommend?
Well, and if you go on social media, maybe the connections you're seeking are, can we meet up at some point? Or are there people who want to learn how to play card games? Do people want to go bowling? Is the hiking group? It's really about creating community and really intentionally. You're at that stage where you have that wisdom of life to say, maybe I still feel really healthy. I am active. Hopefully, your kids are in a good place. And so you are at a nice stage where you can say, maybe I'll pick up golf or tennis or just, wrap yourself around an interest group. So be intentional, be in community, create the community if it doesn't exist, and be with people in person. That's really what I think the call for in this third life period is really suggesting.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
I mean, because initially when you say you kind of had that, you don't have to have those forced relationships with other moms, and that to me sounds lovely. But at the same time, I think it's a warning to be like, that isn't like the grass is greener type of situation that can create, some discomfort.
Exactly. And just because we call it this third life, like there's not an exact age definition. It's not like adolescence or something, but it's probably people in their 50s and their early 60s. So again, you might be active, healthy, vibrant, you want to travel, but the kids are gone. And again, you're probably, you're reaching what you were always striving for in your career. So now it's like, okay, you've got this whole other period of time to start connecting in other ways. And that the meaningful part is really important. Because I do talk to kids in college that'll say, I'm worried about my parents. I don't really know what they're doing anymore. I don't know how happy they are. So from the other side too, kids see it as well.
Yeah, great information.
Thank you.